It to Friday. I'm Julia Fulgham, the Director of Advance at UNM, and today we're really happy to have Maria Lane talking about how to use Scrivener for managing your writing projects. And we've recently had a couple of other, I'll just say reality-based productivity sessions on writing and managing your semester, and we're consolidating the recordings of those and the handouts or slides on a new productivity resources page on the Advance website, where we'll also be posting this, and we'll let everyone know when this one is posted. So thank you all for being here, and thanks to Maria, and I will turn it over to her.
All right, awesome. Thank you. So this is basically going to be a pretty informal kind of a testimonial and show and tell for Scrivener. So if you haven't heard of it before, just quickly what Scrivener is, it's a fairly manipulable writing tool just to help you stay organized with pretty large writing projects. So it was, I'm not like a marketing rep for Scrivener. I just use it and find it really useful. So I'm going to do a much worse job than like their marketing people could actually do and not show you everything, but I'll just show you the features that I use. I find it much more robust than Word, you know, and considering that Word like existed when I was an undergraduate and has barely changed since then, this is like what Word should have changed into, in my opinion. It was, as I understand it, started as a tool for like screenwriters, people who were, you know, trying to manage lots of different parts and themes and characters and scenes as a way to organize all that. But a lot of the, it's been developed, it's now on Scrivener 3 and has a lot of tools that I think are pretty useful for academics as well. So like I said, I've been using it for a while now. I don't know all the tricks. Anytime I don't quite know how to do something, I'm able to find a tutorial or a blog post that helps me figure it out. So I'm going to just show you what I know and how I use it. This isn't everything. And you can kind of make your own decision. So please ask questions as needed. I'm going to just kind of walk through what I do. One note, there are other softwares out there that I think are kind of like Scrivener. I know literally nothing about them because I just tried Scrivener, liked it, and I've been using it ever since. So in terms of like making a comparison with other ones, I can't really do that. If any of you have tried other ones, be great to talk about that at the end here. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. Okay, so can you see, you can see this website here, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So this is just the literatureandlatte.com is the site that developed and now sells Scrivener. So this is just the place to go. I just wanted you to see this at the starting point. Julia, I guess it would be helpful maybe if I sent you a few links or a little document that you could send around to people afterward. Okay, so you go here, you can download a free trial. And I want to just note that down here, wait, let's see, under community, they've got here a forum where you can ask questions, and they've got a blog with articles and things about how to use it. So this is like the starting point, and this is also a place I go back to occasionally when I'm trying to figure out how to do something new. All right, so let's just, I'm going to show you Scrivener, the basic thing. You should be able to see now my Scrivener on the left, and I've got my Endnote open on the right. So let's just look at Scrivener. This is just, there's nothing in this main screen right now. That's the way it's supposed to be. What you've got on every single Scrivener file that you open, you have these three things. I'm not sure, this might be kind of small. I can't make like the software parts of it any bigger than they are. But every Scrivener file has three sections: draft, research, and trash. So trash is just anytime you take a section or anything and you delete it, it goes to the trash. It'll kind of like remains there, remains part of the project, and you could come back to it. Draft is all the writing. So this is the Scrivener file for my book, which I'm working on right now. And you can see this is the primary organization here on the left by chapter. And then within each chapter, I've got all these little parts. Let's see, let's look at the chapter I'm working on now, which is chapter 3. This is when I click on any section on the left, I can then see the part that I'm writing in the middle. So I have an introduction, I have a vignette that I haven't written yet. I have the section on context that I have created these subsections. I'm just kind of stepping you through so you can see the full organization. I have a section called How Did We Get Here, which has these 3. This is like awful draft writing. Please don't try to read any of this because it's unintelligible. Then I have a section on progressivism with multiple sections under this, some subsections under this. This is all just, this is how I organize my writing. You can organize things any way that you would want. This is one of the things I love about Scrivener. It's very manipulable and you can kind of make it fit your style of thinking and your style of writing. Okay, so I just wanted you to kind of see in a basic way, and we're going to come back to multiple ways to view this, but you can see that I've got my chapter here, all these subparts, I can write in any of them. And a really cool thing is if I decide to reorganize, I can just drag these around. I can move section 4 to be the last part of section 2. I can make it be its own new section 2. You can move things around at any time. Any of these subsections are very easily moved. This chapter is pretty far along, so I'm not going to rearrange anything. So put that back where it was. All right. One note here. So I'm just showing you here, this is all in that draft folder. Okay. I haven't shown you yet. This is one thing I think is so awesome about Scrivener, the research folder. So research is just kind of a separate section of your Scrivener project, and you can put anything in there. So I have all kinds of notes in here, like archives to track, archives to visit, things to do, just random, presentations that I have done in the past that I was like, oh, I'm going to use part of that presentation in this part of this chapter. I just like loaded every presentation I've done on this topic into a single folder in here. I have like lit reviews that I've written. All of this I just load in here. This is like notes. This is something that would be like a folder somewhere on your desktop or in a research folder that you'd be pulling things out in order to put into Word. So I love it that all of this is together. So this is just like historical detail. I'm writing about this certain time period. There's historical details I need to remember. Who were the governors? Who were the irrigation commissioners? Like lists of newspapers so that I can look things up. This is all, I've configured this to be exactly the way I need it to be to write this book about water management history in New Mexico. Here's a really cool thing that you can put into your notes. What you're looking at on the screen right now, this list of newspapers that I loaded in here. These are all, can you believe there's this many newspapers printed in New Mexico 100+ years ago? And it tells you exactly their political leanings. Anyway, that is not something I typed in. As you can see, that's an image file. So you can load in, like, here's the report of the irrigation engineer from 1905. Just like load it in, put it in a folder, and then separately, here's my notes. Here's my notes on that particular file sitting right next to each other in this folder. I can easily refer to them. One thing that makes it like super easy to refer to these, look at this really super cool tool here. If I'm in Scrivener, I'm sure you can't really see this icon, but if you get Scrivener and do the 10-minute tutorial, you'll know how to use this. There's an icon right here that allows me to do a split screen. So I can split the screen, and on this side, I can have these notes. And then over on the right side, I can go back to my chapter I'm writing and go to the section on reclamation. So I can be writing in the right side of the frame and referring to my notes or my PDFs or whatever on the left side of the frame. So this is a really very, for me, super helpful tool and way of viewing things. I'm not wealthy enough, and my department is not wealthy enough that I have like 2 big screens to use in the office, but I do have a screen and a laptop, so I can, I can put half of the screen on my laptop and half of the screen on my just screen. So if you have a multi-screen setup, you can really take advantage of it with this kind of setup. All right, so that's just kind of the basic organization. You have the what's called the draft, which is where you're writing and organizing things however you want. You have the research, which is your notes and materials. And then you have trash, which we didn't look in my trash. Let's see what's in there. So this is just like random whatever. When I've deleted a page, it goes into the trash. So let's look at, I'm gonna go back to a single section here. Let's go look at kind of what you can do with the writing side of this. So a few things that you can do just in terms of the manipulation. You can move sections around like I was already showing. You can create new sections very easily. So you just hit this plus button and, here's a new section. And then you can put that wherever you want it to be. So you can put it under something, you can put it next to something, you can move it all around. You would usually, when I'm writing, I'm starting from like a outlining phase and thinking things where they go first and then filling in content. But this is obviously a very effective tool for if you have the ideas and you want to get a piece of writing down before you know where it's going to go. You just get it down. You can give it a little title and then later figure out where it goes. So this is one of the really neat things about Scrivener. Another thing you can do is you can split a section. If you have something that you're writing and it's getting really long and you're like, oh, this is really 2 sections and I should move this second part to like up to a different part of the manuscript, you can split that into 2 sections and then manipulate them just like you would manipulate any other section. All right, I just realized I wasn't looking at the chat. So let me see if, yeah, okay. If there's anything I need to respond to right away, Julia, tell me, or a question, just somebody feel free to ask and interrupt. Okay, what else do I want to say? So you can move sections, you can create new sections, split sections, and you can also, I'm just going to trash this section I made. So you can trash sections, then they go to the trash section of your document. You can also like just import something that's an existing document. So let's do that just to demo it. This is all the ideas I have for titles for this chapter. If anyone comes up with a good title, please let me know over the course of this hour. All right. All right, so I'm going to go to, where am I? Insert. No, wait, import. So file, import. I can just tell it to import a file. This is a paper I'm working on with co-authors that I just sent a few days ago, like the latest version. So I'm just going to import this so we can see how the process works. Came in down here at the bottom. Okay, so this is a thing that I'm working on with co-authors in Word, and I just wanted you to be able to see what it looks like if you do import something from Word. So this is a super marked up document. What you can't see, I just haven't figured this out. In Word, if you've done track changes, when you bring them into Scrivener, it just kind of like accepts all the changes. I'm sure that's configurable. I just haven't bothered with it at this point because I'm usually always working in Scrivener. And then once something goes out to Word, or if I'm going to start working with co-authors, I just kind of stay in Word at that point. But just so you know, you can import. And as you can see, it's coming in with comments here on the side in this little sidebar, which I haven't shown you yet. And with also footnotes on the sidebar. Okay, so that does come in fully preserved from Word as a default. And if you can import the track changes, like I said, I haven't actually investigated that yet. Okay, so this is this thing coming in direct from Word. Okay, so that's just other manipulations you can do to go back to wherever we were. Okay. So I also want to show you a little bit about, well, are there any questions about this before I show you? I just want to show you the different ways to view it. So any questions? Seeing none, I will continue. All right. So different ways that you can view this, or this is at least the different ways that I use. So everything that I've been showing you here, this is called scrivenings. And so this is just their word. I have no idea what it means. So this is just like a view option where you're just seeing your text. Now I've been clicking around just, I click on this little section called expertise, or I click on this section called governance. All this highlighting is just my own idiosyncratic way of keeping things organized. So that's not something Scrivener did to me, just FYI. I've been just clicking on different parts, these little subparts. If I click on like multiple things together and use the scrivening view, I can then just scroll through. I see all of them together as if they're a single document. And when there are breaks between them, you just see a dotted line. So this is useful. I really like to break things down into smaller and smaller parts. And then I feel like it's very easy to knock out that part. If I have the organization in my head, and I correctly set up the structure of the scrivenings to reflect that organization, then all I have to do is go to each one of these and write whatever, 500 words, 200 words, 550 words, whatever my goals are. But then when it's time to look at it all together, you can still do that using this scrivenings thing. So I just did section 2 of the chapter as a single scrivening, and it's giving me a word count at the bottom. It's telling me that this section 2 is 3,044 words. I put in there my word count goals for every in the little title that I've given to each of these, and I can see up here, oh, it was only supposed to be 1,000 words. So I kind of have a lot of cutting to do on this section. I can also just look at the whole chapter as a whole. And now I've got the whole thing. I can scroll through the whole thing. I can write, I can edit as a unit. And so this is telling me, my word count is 15,444 words for chapter 3, which I've told myself here has to be 6,000 words. So this is why my book has taken so long. All right, so this is just so I want you to see that there's multiple ways to view these things as individual parts or as units. Let's see. Question here, can you share folders and draft or research with collaborators? That is actually something I have not investigated because I don't have enough collaborators who are using Scrivener to make it worth it. So what I'm usually doing, this book is just me, myself, and I, so I don't have to worry about that. With other projects, if I'm initiating, I write my part, and then, like I said, I export to Word and then end up kind of switching into the Word interface or whatever we're using, Slack or Google Drive or OneDrive. So that ends up for me being really project specific. I wouldn't be surprised because this is the just released latest version 3 of Scrivener. I wouldn't be surprised if they've added in functionality about that, but I can't make any claims about it. Okay, so let's see with, so this is showing you the scrivenings and the different ways of viewing scrivenings. But there's 2 other fundamental ways to view things in Scrivener. So one of them is this note card view. So every single time you add a page, it gets like a note card. It's like a, what do they call it? The corkboard. So once a page is created, automatically it gets put on this corkboard. I don't use this very much, but I know some people really think in that kind of index card kind of style. And so what this is showing me is in the top left, I've got my, the first card for chapter 3, which is on expertise. And I do actually at the chapter level put a little summary to remind myself. In fact, let me just show you. So I'm going to just show you the whole book because this is the best way to see the corkboard. So this is all my chapters on the corkboard. And so I have created a little note here on each one of like, what's the key thing I'm trying to do in this chapter. Now, at the point where I'm designing the book, and then here's this thing that we added that is not really part of the book. When I'm trying to organize the book, you can move around note cards the same way that you can move things in that folder structure on the left side. You can rework what you're trying to do in each chapter in a really like synoptic way through this corkboard thing. So these are actual things that I have written about. This is what the chapter is about, you know, for chapter 1 through chapter 8. Now, anytime that I haven't written something, it just defaults, like in the case of this file that we added that's not from the book, that's my other paper with co-authors, it just defaults to putting on the corkboard kind of the first text of whatever is in that page. So if we go back to my chapter 3, and we look at chapter 3 on the corkboard, you can see that most of this is gray text, which means it's just defaulting to whatever I wrote first on that section. Okay, the only one where I've actually written on the corkboard is this, at the chapter level. Okay, now, so this is a kind of cool way to see things. You can move things around in here, just like you can, wait, why is this not moving? You can move things around as needed. I actually, when I'm titling things, put numbers in there just in case I start moving things around and can't remember the original order. So just now when I move things around, I'm able to put it back together because I put numbers in the title, which is just to keep myself organized. But so when you do that on the corkboard, it readjusts things on the left in that folder stack. To reflect the new organization. Okay, a final way, and I'll come back and just show you how you, so when I'm looking at it in corkboard, if I want to add in some synoptic text, I can just type right here and it will be in there. But there's another way to do that I'm going to show you in a second. Before we get there, let me show you the third way that you can view your project in Scrivener. So the first way is Scrivenings, where you are looking at everything as text. The second way, you know, and scroll through everything. The second way is corkboard, where you're seeing everything as these index cards. And the third way is called outline. And what this is showing you a lot more detail than what you have. And this is a tool that you can tell is really developed from the screenwriting, or if you need to tag certain characters are in certain sections, but there's a whole set of labels that you can apply. You can create labels if you want to, if that's one of the ways that you organize your writing. You can update status on the different sections, and you can identify whether this is like heading, subheading, subsection, and that will help with formatting. So I just don't worry about any formatting really in Scrivener. I'm an expert in formatting in Word, and so I'd get all the structural stuff done in Scrivener, and my final step is I export to Word. I mean, you have to export to Word to send it to anybody anyway, and so I just do formatting at that point. I feel like it would be worth my investment to just learn the few skills here to set the section types here rather than doing it in Word. Okay, so this is outline type. I know a lot of people, well, I know people work a lot in that format. I just almost never use it, but I wanted to show it to you. Let's see. Okay, note cards, outline. Great. Okay, so one other, I'm going to go back to Scrivenings here. And one other thing I want to show is specifically footnotes or endnotes or citations, sorry. So you can, Scrivener does work with whatever citation manager that you have. I use Endnote. You just have to set it up. You have to tell it what your preference is. And then you can, then it will link, you know, just like Word does the site while you write with Endnote. I just installed a new Endnote, so I'm not quite totally resynced. But I'll just show you because I'm going to show you up in the top-ish. I'm going to just show you how to insert one. It's very similar to what you're familiar with in Word. So here there's a keystroke, Command Y, that pulls up Endnote, and then you just take whatever the citation is, you drag and drop. And just like in Word, you know, if it's a certain page number, you do @page, and now you've got your Endnote tag there. So then when you export to Word or whatever you're exporting to that manages citations or that does cite while you write, you just follow the steps of, like, you know, format bibliography. Jennifer is saying, you are a longtime user of Scrivener and Zotero and haven't found a good way to integrate. So let me back up. If you go to Scrivener preferences under general, this is the first preferences there. On the left, there's citations. And so for Bibliography Manager, I've gone, you know, I click the choose button and I go find Scrivener, or I go find Endnote in my apps, click on it, and then that becomes my default. So I believe you can do that with any citation manager that you use. And then, so once I'm in it, so I'll just delete this let's just add another one. So once I'm in there and I'm wanting to do cite while you write, I'm using a Mac, and so I do Command Y, which is just the command. And then you pick whatever. New Mexico's 1910 Constitution. I'm going to pick that, and it's a drag and drop or a copy paste. And it comes in, you know, with the same kind of tagging look as you would see in Word. And I'm going to give it a page number. And then when I export this to Word, which I'm going to show you, it will come in just the way that it would come in if you had done cite while you write in Word. And then, you know, in Word or whatever you're using, Pages or whatever, you know, you'll have a separate protocol that you probably already know for managing and creating your bibliography. Okay, so this does work with that. It's not quite as seamless, right? Because you have to do that drag and drop or the copy paste. You can't just like type in the last name as you go, which I think is a really nice integration, the way it works within Word. But okay, so that's just to let you know that you can sync those the way they're going to appear. Let's see, let's go back to chapter 2 because this one's pretty much done. Okay, so this is, I'm going to a previous chapter that's pretty much done except for final editing. And you can see here, this is what a fully footnoted paper looks like in Scrivener. So just, this is footnotes. This is not endnotes. So these are going to appear in the paper as footnotes. Okay, so let's see then. One other key thing I want to show you. Any questions on that before I go on?
So Maria, this is Julia. There is a question when it fits into how you're thinking about this is how easy is it to import tables or graphs from Excel?
Oh yeah, sorry, I missed that. I have never done that. I have no idea. But there is, like I said, a forum on the literature and latte page, which I'm sure has answered that question. Yeah, I'm not sure how easy that is or not, but certainly it could be that you use Scrivener for organization. And then, you know, my personal method is that I use Scrivener for all writing, thinking, generating, organizing. I mean, I literally use it for everything, even I have a Scrivener file that's just for book reviews. So it's just each one is a new page and it's 1,000-word thing. It's kind of silly to use a big, powerful tool like this, but this is just like what I'm comfortable writing in. But then I always, when I'm done, I'm exporting it out to Word, and then I just do kind of a final post-processing in Word. So it could be that if you import your tables and graphs here and you don't like the way it looks, it's fine. You can use it to keep writing. And then when you get into Word or whatever else, that's when you would do a final formatting. So, but I'm sure there's info on that. Any other questions? Okay, so let me show you then one thing. So you'll notice that when I opened this and started this, we didn't have the sidebar over on the right. But then when we started having comments show up, the sidebar popped up. So this sidebar is the info bar. It can be turned on and off with this little blue circle with the eye in it. And so when you are, I'll go back to this chapter I'm currently working on. So when I'm doing putting in footnotes versus like inline citation, the way I actually do it, and I'll just do a quick example, is there's two buttons over here, add comment or add footnote. So if I want to, make a comment to myself here, or just something I want to remember to come back to this, I can do that very easily, and it'll be highlighted and I can click on it and it'll always bring me back. Or if I want to put in a footnote, this is where I would, set up this footnote. Then I do my Command Y. I go over to, here we are, pick my citation that I want to use. I just did a copy paste and it comes in as a footnote rather than something I would format later as an endnote. Also over here in this sidebar, so that this sidebar has 5 different things that it can be. I'm in the one called comments and footnotes, but you can also, some of these things I've just never used. You can tag things in certain ways, like with metadata and keywords. You can bookmark things, which is not something that I've used. And this is also a place where the leftmost card here, icon, which looks like an index card, this is where you would put the information that goes on that corkboard. So if I want to, for each one of these pages that I've created, or these little text bits that I've created, if I want each of those to have an index card on the corkboard, this is where I would put the information about what's in here. So once I do that, and I can also put notes to myself on this that won't show up on the corkboard. So once I do that, then when I go to the corkboard, just to go back to that, you can see that intro now has something that I've defined on the corkboard versus just being that default text. So I just wanted to show that. So that's just kind of like the basic. That's what's in Scrivener. So let's look at then what you do. You've got all this written. Let's say it's far enough along that you're ready to export it, which obviously this chapter is not. But if it was, you have this little button right here. This is the compile thing where it's a configurable export. So you can decide what format you want to use. And there's a lot of these that are meant for popular writers, not academic writers. Do I want this as paperback, proof, script, or screenplay? How do I want the layouts to be determined? If I had gone in that outline view and I had defined a bunch of different types of text, section header, block quote, if I had gone in and done that level of formatting, I would then have the option here to define how that is going to appear. And I tell it what I want to compile for. Do I want to make this a Kindle ebook? Well, I could compile for that here if I wanted to. I don't. I'm just going to do a docx, or sometimes you just want to turn it into a PDF. If you have defined the formatting, you just send it out as a PDF. And I can tell it, it's asking me, do you want every single one of these sections in here? I don't want the to-do list, and I don't need that long list of titles that haven't been decided on yet. So I'm going to uncheck those. And then I tell it to compile. It asks me, where do I want to put it? Let's just put it on the desktop. Takes a minute, puts it all together, and then let's see, we'll go back to my desktop, which I'm not sure if you can see this, but hang on, I'll bring it over. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, you're able to see my Word. So now this is a Word file. And it's got a footnote in here, as you can see, because I added that. It's got these two inline citations. So if my Word were properly hooked to my Endnote, which is not because I just updated Endnote, then I would just go to generate bibliography and format bibliography, and it would come out the way it always would come out in Word if you're doing cite while you write. But now I have this whole document, which obviously this is not done and ready to send to anyone to review. But if it was, I would just save it, send it around. Then they could comment it. I can bring it back into Scrivener if I want. It will not come back with all those sections, as they were defined in Scrivener. It will just come back as a single document. So that's why I do as much as I can in Scrivener, and I really only do like the final work in Word, because I consider Word useful for formatting and not much else at this point. So let's see, I think that is the overview of what I wanted to show you. Any questions or things that I can demo or that we can look at?
Maria, this is Julia. You had shown where you had dragged presentations in. Is it importing PowerPoint type presentations when you do that?
It can. I did not bring in the PowerPoints just because it was so many presentations that was just like a lot of file size, and didn't seem worth it to me. I just wanted to go back to like my notes or my abstracts because I was trying to pull text. But yes, you can bring in PowerPoints, and they'll come in the same way as like PDFs, so there'd just be like a graphic file.
And Sarah has asked if you can bring back information from the trash.
Yes, you can. Once I delete something, it's dead to me, but you can just pull things right back, and then there they are. And just, move them around just like anything else. What else? Does anyone want to help me decide on the proper title? These are all awful, like truly. There's no good one yet.
We'll start a contest for you.
I don't know if it's going to help. Okay, so let me just go back to just to show just kind of where to go to get this, literatureandlatte.com, and they have Scrivener is the one we've been talking about, of course, all this time. Scrapple, I don't know what that is, but that's another piece of software that they have. And I don't know if this is still true for Scrivener, but when I tried it for the first time, which is a while ago now, their free trial option was a 30-day trial. And this is lovely. It was 30 days of actual use. So like if you get it today, your free trial expires after you have used it on 30 different days. It does not expire 30 days from now. So that's kind of nice, that it gives you some time to actually work with it. If you're not working with it every day, there's no penalty. it's not, I've heard a few people say like, oh, it's just too much of a learning curve. I can't figure it out. I did not find that it was a large learning curve to start doing basic writing and organizing. I think probably to master every single tool in the software probably would be a large learning curve. But for me, just being able to explore the things that I wanted to be able to do, if something comes up, I find it fairly easy to figure out, how would I do that? It can do a lot more than Word can do, obviously. So it makes sense that it might take a little longer to feel like you're a pro at the software. But I have not found it to be a discouraging learning curve in any way. I mean, it's more like feeling like I'm probably not taking full advantage of this. It's very cheap. It's like $41 or something for the academic pricing. Again, I'm not a marketing rep. There might be something better out there that I don't know about. Any other questions for me? Well, if anyone does have questions, oh, I'm also trying to decide on a subtitle for my book. So if you have ideas on that, please choose from the list or add to it. If anyone has questions, or if you decide to give it a try and something comes up and you need help figuring it out, please feel free to contact me. I'm happy to help out. I'm not like a pro, but I have been using it for a while and really like it and find that I'm a much more effective writer. I don't have that like paralysis of opening a 300-page document. I find it very effective for organizing, and I'm always happy to help people figure it out if you feel like it's going to be helpful for you too. So don't hesitate to get in touch if you want to give it a try. Julia, would you like it if I sent to you just a little like a info sheet to make available, or is that unnecessary?
Let's do that, because then we can also provide it to the people who registered and were unable to attend, and we'll post it with the video. So that would be great. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
We'll do.
Okay. So if there's no other questions. So, oh wait, we have Sarah? What?
Navigating streams. I like this. Putting it
Oh, subtitle suggestion. Excellent.
It just went on the list.
Good job. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I hope you have a good weekend. And thank you very much, Maria. I went into this thinking, well, I don't write big projects. I don't know. And now I'm thinking, oh man, even just NSF reports, this would make it so much easier. So
That's true.
I'm sold on giving it a try. So thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thanks, Julia.